We're just preparing to live stream.
Right.
Can you see that screen?
Okay.
Right, we're live now. Live stream.
Okay.
Amanda, when you are ready.
Okay. Right. We will open the Wawne Parish Council AGM meeting 6th of August 2020, and it is 16 minutes past 7. So we need to appoint a chairman.
Any nominations?
Are you willing to continue as chair?
Yes, I'm willing to continue as chair if you so wish.
Second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
We now need to appoint a vice chairman. Steve, are you prepared to carry on?
Yes, please, if you'd have me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Good.
Subcommittees.
The only subcommittee that I know of is obviously the recreation ground one.
I was just
Yeah.
going to say.
I'm happy to continue with as necessary.
Good.
Okay.
Seconded.
Right. Okay. So that's all sorted now. Thank you. Right. Have we any apologies that we know of?
Pauline has literally just texted me to say she's in Wales, which we all forgot about. So she's on holiday.
Okay.
And I'm trying to assist Christine to get into the meeting, so she may join us later on.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you. Declarations of interest, please. From
Nothing from me.
Just the Zoom on the expenses. So just number
Okay,
8
well-
for me, Anne, please.
Nothing from me.
Or me.
Good.
Okay. Right. Okay, now this is a bit strange. Open forum.
I don't think we've had any questions, have we, Anne?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, fine.
But
Police
we,
issue? Sorry,
but-
Anne?
sorry, no, nothing.
Okay. Police issues? Anne?
Yeah, but I've got a crime. It happened on the 26th of July,
Yeah.
and it's damage to a CCTV intercom system on Main Street.
Right.
That's all it said.
I saw that because it was on that. It's on the newsletter, isn't it, Anne, that we
Yes,
get sent.
yeah.
I don't know where it is. Is it mute? Is it Ferry Road end of Main Street? Will it be 42 or 43 or whatever it is?
The only intercom that I know of on Main Street is Mr. Ombley.
That's the one I was thinking.
Yes, okay.
I've not been told about, so I don't know. Mid Holderness as a whole, I'll give you an update since I've got the figures here. Well, this is fantastic. This drug offences are up by 200%.
Goodness gracious me.
From 2 to 6.
2 to 3 or something, or 2 to 4.
Yeah, literally, it's gone from 2 to 6.
2 to 6, right.
Yeah, the last year. And then shop theft, that's doubled from
Wow.
7 to 15.
Oh,
Wow.
And then antisocial behaviour has gone up across the Mid Holderness ward. It's going up quite a bit. I think it's with people not being at school, people not being able to do things, and there being nice weather and such like. It might be worth keeping an eye on shop theft things, just to maybe speak with Kate and see if she's all right. Because obviously we don't want a repeat of anything else that's happened with the post office recently.
No, true. That's true. So is that it, Anne?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Minutes. To consider and approve the minutes of the last meeting held on Thursday, the 2nd of July.
No problem. I've no problems. Yeah.
That's it.
That's fine.
Okay, right, okay. Matters arising, outstanding issues. To consider any matters arising, please.
Right. So, nothing, is it? Outstanding issues.
Is everything going to be covered on the agenda, Anne?
There's the right of way on the riverbank.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Is that's not on the agenda, is it? Has that been passed on to East Riding?
Yes.
Have we had a response from them?
No.
Okay.
You're gonna look at funding,
Yeah.
Jacob? Yeah.
I haven't looked at that yet. I think I'll probably look when we get a better idea of if and when we're going to get the go ahead. If East Riding say, yeah, pending funding, you can do it, then that's fine.
I think everything else is on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Finance and compliance, approval of monthly spend, as you can see in front of you.
No problem with any of that.
No problems?
No problems.
No problems here either.
Just a quick update on the budget then, once that's been approved.
Yeah.
So we're standing at a income of, we've had £260 of advert income, and we budgeted for £300 for the year. So we're nearly at our yearly target for that. We've had half of the precept in so far. And then the running costs, again, we're halfway through the year and we're running at about half the running costs, which is good. So we're within budget on that. And the savings, we've saved half of what we would save in a year. So we are
On target.
We are within budgetary requirements so far.
Okay. All right. Has anybody else anything to add to that? No.
No.
Okay. All right. Planning. Decision, remove one number ash tree due to tree being heavily one-sided with large limbs growing out over the garden and leaning towards the property. Concerns for ivy around the tree adding weight and showing signs of dieback 5-cedar close. Works to protected tree granted.
No.
Okay, and we've also got an erection of a detached garage, retrospective, 16 Oak Square 1, full planning permission granted. All right. Okay. Right. Appeal. Certificate of lawfulness for existing use of outbuilding as a dwelling, apartment 43A Main Street. Dismiss.
Yeah, that's the little building at the back of 43 Main Street that was being lived in, contrary to what we're allowed to do in that building. So I think an enforcement notice was served, wasn't it, and they didn't listen and appeal. So I think enforcement action has been taken. It's maybe worth speaking to our new enforcement officer as a point to introduce yourself, if you haven't already, and maybe just ask for an update on that.
Okay, Anne, did you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Verges and curbs.
Yeah, this one was mine from the last time. I say my concern is the age of the Wawne Bloom team.
Yeah.
Mary Carrick is the sole individual that's active in that group now.
Right.
And what are we going to do in the future? I've written to the East Riding and asked for advice about them removing all the flower beds introduced by the Wawne Bloom team.
Yeah.
They are prepared to do that.
Right.
I've asked them if they are prepared to replace the empty flower beds with wild flowers.
Yes.
And they said that is a very expensive to them option, because in the first year, you have to really go down and thin the weeds out until the wild flowers become prominent.
Right.
Yes.
But the options for us are employ somebody else and maintain the flower beds, have all the flower beds removed and it all grassed over and cut, or go to wildflowers and at the back end of the year, pay someone, a professional firm, land planner or someone, to come and take all of the flowers away so that the soil doesn't become enriched and the weeds don't grow. I'm not looking for an action. I'm looking for you all to think about the longer term, because it will get to us.
Sorry,
Repairing the verges, do we employ someone in the village, or do we call in someone, a professional firm, once we require it, rather than going for the sad news of having to let someone go down the line?
What happened to the chappie that used to give a hand to Wawne Bloom?
The chappie that used to give a hand to Wawne Bloom. This has been recorded, isn't it?
Yes. Can you be?
No, not online. I can't.
Okay.
He was taking cash
no
in hand.
longer involved.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. He's not available. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Right.
Can I just ask a question, Steve?
Yeah.
Do we know roughly how much we were paying Wawne? Because we were like sort of granting them money as a village group to carry out, to help them carry out the work, weren't we?
Giving them about £1,000 a year.
£1,000 a year, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And I've got no idea how much it would cost to employ somebody on a casual basis.
No, this is what I'd like you to think about, and I'll take it up and I'll find out how much it would cost to do it on a casual basis. I'll ring a couple of firms to get them to come down and have a look and see what it would cost us to get them to do it on a quarterly basis. There are options for us if you think, but I think that somebody polite needs to have a word with Wawne Bloom. And I'm not polite. I just like to talk to them and say, what is it that you're doing? Can you see an end in it? I can't see Mary Carrick doing it forever.
I was driving out a couple of weeks ago. I was pulling out of Main Street, and near the telephone box, there used to be two planters.
Yes.
One of them was falling apart.
Yeah.
The other one's being replaced, and it was actually Fowler lady Alison and her husband.
Yes.
Doing it. So they used to do Wawne Bloom, and obviously she's not got time now, but she saw that it was falling apart and it was a big job. So her and her husband went down, replaced the planter, and took the old one away, etc., etc. Just out of the goodness of their heart, I think they probably had some Wawne Bloom help regards funding or something. And I said, if there's any costs, just let the parish council know and we'll sort it out.
Good.
But I think, yes, look at what it would cost for a firm to come in quarterly and do it. But I honestly think if we keep beds, which is my preferred option, and is probably the preferred option of quite a lot of the villagers, I think we could try to look and see if there's somebody within the village with a bit of gardening experience, somebody that's semi-retired, that we can pay on a casual basis. Obviously, depending on what we're allowed to do when employing somebody on a casual basis.
I think that's a wonderful idea, actually.
Try and keep it in the village, and then they can just do it as and when they see an issue, and we just pay them a set amount a month, and they just do whatever they can within whatever they want to be paid.
That's a good idea.
It's a bit like almost delivering the Gazette or me doing the Gazette.
Yeah.
I've paid whatever 30 quid an issue. It probably doesn't cover the 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours I spend on it, but it's just a reasonable expense that is paid to cover some whatever costs I incur and a bit of time. There may be, I don't think you'll find volunteers to do it.
No.
So it might be that we could maybe put something in the next Gazette and say, look, after we've spoken to Wawne Bloom, find out what their ideas are, put something in the Gazette and know what their situation is, and say, look, we're looking for somebody on an extremely casual basis to do some gardening for us, basically.
It's a great idea.
Okay. Do you want us to speak to Wawne Bloom?
If you're friendly, which you two are, as I say, just have a word with Margaret and say,
we'll do it.
If the idea is right, we can either let the Wawne Bloom people find this village gardener and make the effort to replace Richard, or we can take it from them. Just say, get their views for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
We'll do that then.
that's what
Yeah.
we'll do.
Can you
Okay.
record
I know for now, I think Mary Carrick is trying her best to keep on top of it.
She is.
She's
She
doing the
is.
best
And
she
she
can.
works very hard at
I'm not
it.
fair to ask her to keep doing it if she's not able to do it.
No. Okay. All right.
She might volunteer and be paid for it then.
Exactly.
If she does that, that's up to her. But I think we need a firm answer of who's going to do it and have a regular.
Right. Well, we'll go back to this one once we've spoken to Wawne in Bloom at the next meeting, and then
Okay.
we might have a way forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we've got footpaths, please.
Do you want to go, Steve? Or
Yeah, as I said, the footpath, we were excited that we were getting a footpath all the way down to the playing field.
Yeah.
The original estimate was done by Ian Sugden and his team out of their repairs budget.
Yeah.
It's now being taken on by the capital team, who charge more money per hour, even though they're charging internally within the council.
Yeah.
So they've now got the money to go up to the second development.
Right.
I've met Ian Sugden today because I walked the site 3 or 4 days ago, and they are going to join up with the little bit of pavement that's in the second development. And I've stood there, and when you look back up the hill into the village, you're still on the very blind bend. And I've asked Ian if I can have a dropped curb, cross the road, and have 2 or 3 meters of concrete at the other side, which takes me away from the blind bend, and that's a better decision point to me.
Yeah.
He showed me today how that they would, if we would contribute some money to the missing 15,000, take the path all the way to the recreation ground.
Right.
Steve, sorry, where would you drop your drop curb that you've asked for and the bit of concrete? Whereabouts would that be?
When you walk down the hill,
Yeah.
you come to the second development. There are obviously the first one you come to.
Yeah, well, the number 1 Ferryman's Close, or whatever it is. Yeah.
No, the first curb that I come to at that point,
right,
they're going to put me a drop curb in.
Right. Okay.
My problem is that that's where I make my decision point to go on the road.
Okay. Where the 2 detached, the semi-detached are, the grass verge bit.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay. And it's too close to the bend. I want to be able to cross Ferryman's Close, go up the other side, and stand there with my buggy and think, now I can look back, and now I've got 100 yards. Vehicles can see me getting onto the road, and I can see vehicles coming.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Ian said today he thinks in the budget he's got enough money to give me 2 or 3 meters. I was not keen on going further than that anyway, because the next part you come to is Mr. Shipley's house, and he would lose all the verge outside his house. When they've been down there marking out the road, Mr. Shipley and the Bothams next door have both expressed no concerns whatsoever about having the pavement go right past their hedge. When you look at how far it goes, is it worth £15,000? There's an awful lot of curb in that £15,000, and all they're looking for is some form of contribution. Now, you have a different view to me. My view is I want it to be, I would rather spend the money on having the paths in place before the recreation ground got open, rather than the recreation ground being open and it not being safe to go there.
My point was, I can't see how highways at East Riding can justify stopping a footpath about 15 meters short of a play area that is about to have potentially £150,000 spent on it. And it's not like they don't know, because we spoke about it.
Yeah, they do know.
And I can understand that there's probably a cost implication, because yes, it's a little bit, it's 15 meters extra, and it's probably £1,000 a meter at that, if it's going to cost 15 grand or whatever.
Yeah.
But in my head, I can't understand how they can justify not doing it when they know that that area is going to get increased pedestrian traffic. Now, they've obviously said they're not going to do it because they haven't got the money, fair enough.
Yeah.
But my point would be, once that area gets more traffic, it would be more plausible to go back to them and say, look, it's getting more traffic. You didn't do it because you couldn't afford it. Fair enough, but it's now getting more traffic, and it's a public safety point of view that it now needs doing. And I just don't want to see us spend 6, 7 grand or 3 grand or whatever on a path when it should be paid for by the East Riding.
Again, the East Riding's point is that that is a country road, and country road regulations apply. And they've done us a big favour by putting the footpath in.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the point that say it's all about are we, and as I say, if I can get 2 meters the other side of Ferryman's Close, then I'm prepared to risk it as you are until we get to a point where we're using the park.
Well, we've got 10 grand in savings, so why don't we just say to them, what about 4 grand? Does that get it done?
Do we know how much they're actually asking for as a contribution?
No, I think the problem here is that we're seen as a proactive parish council. We're seen as a parish council that shares the burden with the East Riding. That's why we're getting the road done.
Right.
They're taking from the bus stop and repairing all the road from the bus stop and the pavements all the way down past the first development to the second development.
Yeah.
They know what they say. They've found this money, £45,000. Ian's budget is £450,000 per year for all the villages that he's got to look after.
Right.
So we're already getting, and he knows we've contributed to the yellow lines twice. They know we've contributed to the speeding lines, to the speeding signs. They know we contribute. And if we contribute, am I being abused, or am I being, you're part of the team, you're getting more money. We'll look after you. You help us, we help you.
I think,
don't know what that relationship is.
I think considering the amount of work that we're having done, yes, we've contributed towards the paths being done down Ferry Road as well, haven't we?
Yeah.
That's got that done quicker. And we have had a lot of complaints about the path. I mean, I've got a list here. So 1st of September, they're going to look at doing Church Road. And then 14th of September, they're going to do Main Street. So the path where they're all covered and crumbling away. And then at the end of September, they're going to do widen Ferry Road around near where the developments are and put the path in.
Yeah.
I can understand Steve's point, and I do see it from Steve's point that, yes, we don't want to be taken for a ride and be asked for money every time we want something done. But it's almost doing a hell of a lot of work. And if we can just contribute a little bit, it might be worth it.
I agree. I said to me, I would love the path to go all the way to the play area. It all done been in one go. I'd feel it was safe. It's how much do we feel as a parish council we're willing to put on the table?
Look, put it this way: we started saving, I don't know, 3 years ago, whenever it was, to try and save up for either some speed calming measures or the bridge to be altered or whatever.
Yeah.
But we've spent money out of those savings on the park. We've spent some money on other bits and bobs. And it sort of stays topped up at a fairly decent level, but it's always dwindled. It's never not been spent. And now that we've got East Riding's attention on the bridge, they might be able to do something about that, but we might have to contribute. The traffic calming, we're probably going to fund majority of ourselves through a loan of some kind because we want it doing quickly, but it's going to cost £30,000-40,000.
Yeah.
So whilst we have that savings for things like this, I think we continue to save and we just spend it on contribute. It's more of a contributing fund rather than a savings fund. I think is probably the better way of looking at it. But how about, I mean, we've got £10,000 in there now. In the second half of this year, when we get paid the second amount of precept, I think we'll put another 2 grand in it. So why don't we just say four grand to East Riding for this and see if that works.
Would you like to make a proposal?
I'll propose we pay 4 grand towards the path then, down Ferry Road.
I'll second it.
Okay.
And carried then.
Yeah. Okay.
Carried.
Do you mind if I write to Ian tomorrow then?
Yeah, that's fine.
No problem. No
Right.
problem. Okay. Right. Now we move on, please. Club 100.
This is my little idea to try and raise a little bit of money for the upkeep of the park once it's our recreation ground. Sorry, once it's up and running. So it will be a case of, I don't know, paying £25 a year, and you get entered into the draw, and you have monthly chances of winning 25 quid. I think you can win £50 every 3 months, so every quarter. Every half year you can win 75 quid, and every year you can win £100. And I think we need about 50 people to sign up to it for it to break even, which isn't obviously the point, but any more than 50 people can we start making money for the park. We start having a surplus money, which we can then put into putting into the park. It was a thing of the past to try and raise funds for things like community halls and things like that. And almost, yeah, you did it. You would have done it for the village hall. I think they're almost making a bit of a resurgence, because it's not. In the last week, I've been asked about doing another one for something else I'm involved in. There's just a couple of things I think we need to check if we're okay with the idea in principle. Sorry, Steve, go on.
I'm against the idea.
Why?
I'd rather see 50p go on the precept and all the village pay for it. I don't see why a selected few that care about the village should have to dip in their pockets. I'd rather see everybody in the village contribute. It's a village facility. It's not for a few, and it's not for a few wealthier people spending on a club. Put the precept up.
I just think I think this is a way of allowing people to contribute if they can and if they can't, but they're also getting something back. And it might not work. We might not get the 30 or 40 people, whatever it is we need, and then it falls flat on its face. If it does work, we've got a bit of extra income from those who want to help and those who want to contribute.
Okay. Does it work financially? Would they pay to the parish council? Would we have a separate pot?
This is what one of the few questions I had for Anne of how we would have to work it, which you're probably going to have to check with Annika.
I was going to say, just ask Annika, we'll get a formal statement.
Hang on, guys. Andrew,
I've got to say, I think I agree with Steve here. I think the whole village should contribute. I appreciate where you're coming from, Jacob, and I know your feelings on this are quite correct and wise, but I think the village should pay for it, because it is, as Steve's case says, it could be a case of the wealthy contributing or even the poor contributing, so the village should pay for it.
Yeah.
Do we want to check with Annika about the rules and do an expression of interest, or
do an expression of interest? No doubt about it.
Okay.
And then see where we go from there? Okay. And can you check with Annika about the rules about running a Club 100 and whether we can have separate accounts or we pay the parish council or whatever?
Right, yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Mukes Road.
What was this one?
Mukes Road.
Was this me or you, Steve? I can't remember.
No.
Well, while we're talking about Mukes Road, because I can't remember what it was. They've obviously resurfaced the bit outside,
Yes.
which is fantastic, and no idea they were going to do it. And to be quite honest, it didn't really need doing.
No.
It's the rest of Mukes Road that needs doing. And since they've finished that, the past week or so, I've seen two gentlemen in high vises working the way down Mukes Road every morning, marking it up. So you'll see yellow marks around all the potholes. This wasn't me and you, Steve, one now, wasn't it? I've just remembered.
I say, my concern was that they were doing Mukes Road that didn't need doing, when there was pavements in the village that did.
Yeah.
But now we've got the latest information from Ian that says we're coming into the village.
Yeah.
This is just a pure bonus, and again, it's another one of those things that Ian Sugden keeps doing for us that we should be grateful for.
My only concern is that if they're patching down Mukes Road, if they're doing pothole patching, it does work generally what they do, but residents often don't feel it's good enough. But it would cost about £500,000 to £750,000 to resurface, at least.
Yeah.
Resurface a large section of Mukes Road. So it's probably patching works. Anne, can you ask Ian what they're doing? And see if we can get an answer for when the next Gazette goes out, because then we can say you'll see part of Mukes Road has been resurfaced, But what also is happening is they're going to do patching works to it to fill in the potholes more comprehensively than just putting some tarmac in it. We also had a discussion, Steve, didn't we, about turning it into an A road.
Yes.
When you come into the village, sorry, when you come into the village now that it's been remetalled from the top end there by the roundabout all the way into the village, it has to be better than it was, and it is better than it was. So I think it is a bonus, as Steve has said, and if they will go into the village as well, into the main street, it's got to be better for us, hasn't it?
Yeah. Because when there was the accident on the A1035 near Ticton,
Yeah,
that road was closed from the top of Mewkes Road right up to the Swinemore roundabout.
yeah.
And all the thousands of cars that would be driving from the coast back to Beverley, Driffield, wherever, that would normally go down the A1035 and up towards York even, were now being diverted down Mewkes Road.
I know. We were witness to it. Believe you me.
I came home, and you obviously you live along there, but I came home Dunswell way, and I got to Kingswood Academy roundabout. That roundabout as you head to the road or Wawne Road or whatever it's called, and the cars were back to back all the way from that roundabout right past your house, as you will have seen on Mewkes, right up Mewkes Road. And there was another accident about a week after, or whenever it was, after that that incident. So I think there needs to be a discussion about, because of maybe when we next speak to East Riding, and when Steve speaks to them again about that bridge and the Mewkes Road, about, look, the road is getting a hell of a lot more traffic. And I know we're having traffic surveys done, but I think a consideration needs to be made, and East Riding need to understand that that is a main road, and it potentially needs to be looked at being upgraded status, because an upgraded status means it gets more attention,
more money as well, I'm assuming.
money, yeah, basically. But it is that level of road now. It's not just a country lane anymore. There are probably thousands of cars go down that road. I'm going to say thousands of cars a day probably travel down that road from Kingswood, Beverley, Hornsey, and even if you turn off at Benningham, sometimes that's a right rat run.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a rat run. And by the way, when the traffic jams were there, I thought I was an alien, because walking along the roadway there, all the drivers were looking at me. I thought I'd got two heads and I was green. Who's this strange person walking along a pavement?
Yeah. So I think, Steve, if you can maybe mention that next time you speak to them, just see what their thoughts are.
Yeah.
It is quite concerning, the amount of traffic that road took that day.
Okay.
Right. I'm actually thinking we might combine the next two together, because they seem to run hand in hand, speeding through the village and traffic controlling, calming, bridge, speed watch. I'm assuming that will be you, Steve.
Yeah, as I say, I met the two ladies. We had a great couple of hours. Really positive attitude. She held nothing back. We talk openly about, tell me what I can have, tell me what I can't have. Don't tell me about the budget problems. Just talk to me as if we're actually people. And she was excellent young lady. Recognised and witnessed all sorts of problems with.
Or I forget, what was her name?
Leanne. I'll get you her full name. Leanne Darbinson. Darbinson.
Okay.
Sorry. Why have I left?
No, I can still see you.
I can see you, Steve.
Okay. So I say it was a really good, positive session. She took things away about the school bus, took things away about the school. I've been back in touch with her, telling her information about how the school has changed, in so much as the school now has 40% of its children from out of the village. I've told about how the village hall has changed, and it's no longer for the WI, it's hired out 3 times a week. We talked about the amount of traffic that's now coming through the village because of the developments and those things. And she's talked about recognising this is a changing village. That's why she's doing the traffic census. It won't just be speeds, it'll be vehicle numbers. she's putting a report together. Once I get you that report, I'll let you know it. But she was very much against speed bumps, particularly from a fire and fire prevention and an ambulance service perspective. She thought there was lots of options in speed control, but she said about possibly 20 mile an hour zones will be patrolled in the future, because London have just going to announce that this week. So we maybe won't need to spend money going back up to a 30 if they start to patrol 20s. She witnessed some real speeds through the village, and we walked all the way down to the new developments and both to the bridge and the entrance on Mews. So she's got some real issues to do. And I also asked her to come, and she's done an evening visit down Church Road.
Yeah.
Because you cannot, in my opinion, get a fire engine or an ambulance down Church Road on a night.
You struggle to get a standard car through some of the gaps.
Well, this is my worry. And you've got the planning department that keep approving changes to houses down there. And equally, White Van Man, everybody down there seems to have a van. It's just if there ever is an incident down there, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So she's agreed to do a couple of evening patrols and then talk to the relevant authorities on that one as well.
Okay, good. Well done, Steve.
The worst time, of course, is when the kids have been picked up from school, because if you drive into the village at that time, the mums or dads, but mainly mums, it seemed to be, driving to the village like lunatics because they don't set off early enough. There's one young lady, I don't know who she is, but she drives a white Range Rover or that sort of thing, who persistently tailgates you whenever I'm driving to the village at that time. Presumably they live over Brantholme or Kingswood or wherever. That's the worst time because the mums are late to pick the kids up. And that's a terrible time to be in the village. In fact, it's downright dangerous at times.
I say, one of the things that I've got Anne looking at with Ernica, we've got a piece of advice from Darren about filming these people. I don't know how we would film them, whether they're wearing high-vis jackets or whatever. When I spoke to Leanne, she was like, yeah, get it posted on. So there's nothing more embarrassing for Asda or Hermes than a picture of their van. She was yes, Darren was no. So this week I've written to Anne, and she's going to talk to Ernica about the advice about what we should look like when we're taking these videos of them and where we can post them and how. I couldn't post it. I'd have to get in touch with young Jacob to do something with it. But she was saying, write to Hermes, write to Asda and say, this is what your drivers are doing in our village, and we'll get some action there. But as I say, I don't know if you can do it. Just
got to be careful that you don't put yourselves at risk as well. Because
exactly, that's what I want from Anne. I want what should we be wearing? What should we be doing? What does it look like?
Got to be careful with that one, I think. Have you covered everything that you're happy to cover, Steve, under the traffic control, etc., etc.?
Not a problem.
Sorry, you had an update from Darren about speed watches today, didn't you?
From Darren Bainton?
Yeah. Did he mention it?
No, all he mentioned was it's okay to photograph.
So as when I spoke to him a little bit after.
We're on the car park. He'd been investigating that incident.
Yeah. So I was talking to him on the car park after you'd gone, and he said, "Look, Speedwatch, we'll try and get it up and running as soon as we can. Obviously, the pressures are slightly changing now. COVID's sort of relaxing and such like. But he's hoping to. Hopefully, we might be back after the holidays. There's probably no point in doing it.
No. That's what Leanne said. She'll wait while she does the speed checks when the kids have gone back.
Yeah, I mean the bridge you've covered obviously, and speed calming again. There's nothing else from me.
But she did make the point. I was really concerned when she was saying about she didn't like speed bumps. She didn't like the continuous strips, rumble strips. She bring too many motorbikes off, because you're vibrating at a time when there's less grip on your tyre as well. So, and I said, I've wasted £1,000 on the survey. And she said, no, having the survey made us take action. So it wasn't wasted what we did.
But we were showing we were serious about having.
Yeah, showing we were serious and having professionals involved and showing that we were interested. Because I ran through all the things that we'd done, like talking to the school about walking to school with Darren, the police and crime commissioner. She's just ticking them off the list. Oh yeah, you've done everything that you need to. So again, it's about proving to these riding that we're determined to get things done.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. That's good. Right, welcome pack. Anybody done anything with it?
Well, yeah, that's both with the lady that's in Wales. She's got the 2 examples, and she was going to be the one that had a look through it, wasn't she? So that's an ongoing action.
We'll adjourn that one for the next meeting,
Yeah.
shall we?
I'm going, and do you want to maybe check with her, Anne, when she's back about that one? Yeah.
Land behind the village hall.
Bless you.
This is what we talked about last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, we said about getting volunteers to do it.
Yeah.
Quite happy to get involved with
And what have we had anything back from? We didn't get anything back from Mr. Harrison, did we?
Oh,
No. And what about East Riding?
I haven't contacted them yet.
Right. Okay.
Mr. Harrison.
Yeah.
I mean, there was another bit of land. We were going to talk to Mr. Harrison about the tree on his land in the old vicarage, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you wrote to him about that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he hasn't got back to you.
No.
I think it's maybe time we then write to East Riding about both issues.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you can copy me in if you want, Anne, and I'll speak to them as well if needed. But I think we need to try and sort the land out behind the village hall, because when you're walking your dog, it's impossible to pass somebody else.
Yeah.
You have to wait at either end, or somebody has to turn around.
Yeah.
And at the moment, people don't like passing, even though you're only passing quickly.
Okay.
So you often get the awkward sort of standoff, who's going to turn around and go back. And it's a bit awkward if you meet an unfriendly dog with your dog.
True.
Okay.
Dog guns at dawn.
Yeah. So I think we just write to East Riding about that one then.
Yeah.
And leave it on the agenda, but maybe change it to land behind village hall / tree at old vicarage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Recreation ground.
So existing site issues is nil. There was a problem a few weeks ago with moles, but they seem to have gone. But we may have to pay for somebody. I assume there's somebody that can come and do a survey to see if they're going to be an issue again. They did dig up, I think it's about 5 or 6 mounds towards the edge of the field. Didn't cause too much of an issue because they've gone down now, but I just don't want to keep going.
They were there 40 years ago when cricket used to be played there. They come some seasons, then they go, just like on the riverline. Yeah.
That's the only existing issue. It's now open for the grass cutters to cut the grass when they cut the big field and everything, so we don't need to do that again.
Okay.
Update regarding committee and the community sums. The committee haven't met, and I'll probably provide them an update once I have an update about community sums, but at the moment, Leanne is going through all the paperwork, the lady that East Riding that's sorting out the community sums. Once she's gone through it and checked it all, and she's happy, she'll say, yes, I'm fine with the paperwork. And then Anne basically needs to sign one of the pieces of paperwork and send it to her and say, Wawne Parish Council would like to apply for these sums. So it's not me applying for them, it's Wawne Parish Council.
Yeah.
And then, because I would technically be consulted as ward member for Mid Holderness on any community sums applications within my ward. So once Anne signs it off, it will go to her team. Her team will check it. Her team's already checking it because she's doing it, so that should be fairly quick. And then I believe it will come to the ward members, myself, Councillor Hawkby and Councillor Scow. We can pass comment, we can ask questions. Obviously, it'll be a yes from me. And then it will, because it is over £100,000 we are asking for, it will go to cabinet. It will go to the new cabinet of councillors under Richard Burton, and they will discuss it as an agenda item as to whether approve it or not. And Leanne is also going to talk to planning for us, just to double check the planning aspect of it, and double check everything's in place and fine there. We have done a planning inquiry and asked if we need it, but she's just going to double check again. I don't think, because nothing's really over 2 meters or 3 meters, whatever it is, we don't need it, but they're going to double check. And then once we get the money, Leanne raised the concern that only half of the money has been received, especially from the bigger development, because it's not due until the last, I think it's the last dwellings occupied. They don't have to pay the second amount.
That's good, because the last 2 were sold today. The sign was up today.
Oh, the last 2 have been, what, on the bigger one?
Yeah,
No, they haven't even been built yet.
says houses for sale.
I think maybe it's occupied then. Sorry, it might be occupied.
Okay.
So, when I was talking to an enforcement officer about the development a few weeks ago, the developer, Mr. Harrison, indicated that they would be finished for October time, the building. So I imagine the people will move in before Christmas.
Okay.
They want to move in after Christmas, obviously. So I expect the next lot of commuted sums to come in January, February time, which will meet fine with our schedule to try and open Easter summer.
Yeah.
It'll
Okay.
take, the lead time for the supplier is about 4 weeks, and it'll probably take 3 or 4 weeks to put it in place and build it and do it properly. I've got all their environmental statements. I've read through them. They make sense, fine by me. And I've read through the COVID secure working arrangements, and that's ever changing. But the one I had was perfectly acceptable. Obviously, they're still operating. They are still going out on site. They have reduced staff, so things are taking longer. But hopefully by January, February next year, pending not a big second wave, we should be okay to carry on and build that. So my target is an Easter holiday opening event. If not, we will try and do something towards summer.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Does.
All right. Village drainage.
Still waiting for the water board to come back to us. Jacob and I met them 6 months ago.
Have we chased them, Steve?
No, I said that. Can we get John to chase them, because he sits on that committee?
Yeah, I'll speak to John.
Okay.
Okay. So obviously that's still on the agenda for next time.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Communications website Gazette.
I don't think there's anything to go on the website. It's ticking over. You're all right with everything on the website, aren't you, Anne?
Yeah.
Gazette, there's just a few articles we've mentioned in the past. Deadline is the 15th of this month if you want to put anything in, and I'll go to print towards the end of this month, but probably not because I go on holiday on the 19th. So I'll probably try and print it before the 19th, so it should maybe go out the end of August.
Okay.
Excellent. That's good. All right. Correspondence. Any correspondence, Anne?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got 2. So no, we've got 1. because
Okay.
We already discussed 1. So
Muriel Mortimer's relatives want to put a bench up
Yeah.
in Wawne Village.
Yes.
As I say, I'll write a response with Anne that says we support the idea of a bench. Unfortunately, there is no locations in the village that are ever suitable for this.
Mm.
My question to Jacob is going to be, how about memorial benches down at the recreation ground?
Yeah.
That
makes
sounds
sense.
good.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Fine by me.
We
Muriel Mortimer's family going to pay or contribute towards it?
We're going to pay to put it up, and that's what I'd like to do. I think we need a policy that says we will accept memorial benches at the recreation ground, providing that they are this big, this whatever, this material, and after 5 years, they will be returned or destroyed. I don't want 100 rotting benches
No.
families have left. So there's got to be some form of contract or stipulation. When people apply, we give them some rules from the Recreation Ground Subcommittee that says, bang, 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 this is what you can do. This is where you cite it.
Steve, do you want to draft some sort of
I'll bounce it to you.
draft something and send it to me?
I will do.
And then do we want to write back to the family of Muriel Mortimer, obviously give our condolences, and just say, look, we're happy for you to put a bench in. Maybe say, if you have any locations you'd like to look at, please let us know. Because they might have a location we've not thought of, and it might not be an issue to anybody.
Okay.
And then also suggest, look, we're happy to have one at the recreation ground when the development is finished, which will be February, March next year. If you're happy with that, there will be some stipulations we'll have to put in place or something like that. I think just so they've got the option, because they might say, oh, we're happy to have it, I don't know, in the middle of a field down Mukes Road or something. Or right outside Amanda's house. That'd be all right.
Right.
I don't have a problem with things like that.
No, we don't. They can put it on the grass in the front there. It's not a problem. Mind you, they might get run over by all the speeding
They might get
drivers.
run over. This is true. Yes, very true. Very, very true.
Okay.
So I'll write a
All right.
response with Anne to the family, and I'll draft out a policy for looking at benches.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Right. Councillors' reports. Any items for future agenda?
Nothing
I don't
to
have
write.
anything at the moment.
No.
No,
No.
I don't think I have either. Nobody's come, asking or whatever for anything at the moment. No.
Good.
Okay. Issues for communications.
Nothing major. The Gazette's going to cover it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
What we'll do is Steve's drafted a few parish council bits. I'll go through it, sense check it, and we'll send it.
Check it.
Okay.
We'll send it to everybody. So if you've got any problems, then you can let us know before it goes out.
Okay. All right. Did we manage to put anything in regarding the footpath down that
Yeah.
we've been discussing?
Yeah,
So
we'll. I'll
something
put it in
like
because
that.
I'll basically put fantastic news after hard work of everybody. Blah blah blah. On this such and such a date, this road will get done, and the paths on such and such a date, this will happen, and on such and such a date, this will happen, give or take. And that the parish council have offered to, by the time we go to print, hopefully Ian will have come back and said, yeah, that's enough money, we'll go ahead with it. And I can say, parish council have paid towards the works to put a footpath down to the new recreation ground.
No. We need to the village have paid.
The village have paid, yes.
Yes, you
Are they
are
all
completely right.
The parish have paid. If we really-
Excellent. Well
very
done.
good.
Very well done. Okay.
I'd like to meet Mr.
We
Parish.
include Mutes and we include a right in along the drain, don't we?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So all that is required now is to say our next meeting will be Thursday, the 3rd of September. Thank you all for joining the meeting.
Chair.
yes, thank you.
All right. And
Cheers,
thank you very
everybody.
much. Take
Thanks.
care.